Hello, hello, Stargazers! How is everybody doing today? Hope you are all doing well. How is everybody? Okay, let me do this here, do that here, try not to get distracted by my own stuff. Alright. We should be good. How is everybody doing today? Doing good, doing some writing, editing, I hate it. I can imagine. I know that you've said before that you've had to like dissect the writing and chop it up, so I imagine it's not easy. Hello Vessa, hello Delphin. And hello hello Roan, how are you all doing? Aside from Roan, who's in pain of writing. I might not stay too long, so I'm feeling kind of sick today. No worries, Vessa. This is actually probably gonna be a short stream anyway. I'm actually like also in sort of a funky place, so yeah, this is just gonna be short. This is just to sort of reconnect, chit chat with you guys a bit. We're gonna try some like general low-key stuff and yeah. Editing is so boring, it makes the pros better and the like, but it's not very creative, it's dull. Funky place. It's okay though, it's okay. I just have a lot on my mind right now, kind of trying to prepare for the next stream, which, if you can turn into the stream on Tuesday, please try to make it. I would really love seeing you there. Tuesday's stream is going to be very big, very, well, okay, actually, you know what? Let me go back. Let me dial that back. I don't want to say very big because I don't want to be like pushing any kind of expectations on you guys or myself or any of that. You know, it's not a new model. It's not new overlays. I'm gonna dial that back. But it is an anniversary stream, so I would still be really appreciative if you show up. Because I think it's gonna be fun, regardless of what it is. I'm just hoping we'll have fun. Loki stuff sounds mischievous. I see what you did there. Minokuro, hello. What time is it there? It's late. I don't know what I would say that late. But konnichiwa, welcome in. Will Tuesday's stream be longer than normal? I know big things are happening, but will the stream length be any different? Probably. You know, maybe an extra, hour or two. Probably not, like, 4 or 6. Like, I think last stream anniversary, I went for 4 hours last time, I want to say. 4 or 5. I don't think I'll be doing anything like that. But, yeah, we'll see, It's probably still gonna stay within, our average realm. But yeah, it's just, you know, I've got a few things to show, a few things to explain, a few new adventure stuff. So, it'll be interesting. But yeah, definitely, if you can make it, definitely stop by and say hi. Because, you know, there'll be something in it for you too, I assure you. But yeah. New adventures, yeah. Yeah. And I'll reiterate right now, I'm not rebranding. It's not a new model. But it's still gonna be something fun. Yes, I am staying Celestial Rainbow Fox. Do not worry. But without further ado, I think we will get going to our main scene here. So today I wanted to do a little bit of, like I was saying before, I want to do a little bit of experimentation. I want to try learning from some rendering techniques here, so we'll go to our main scene. And let me move over. Oh my gosh, I've got multiple windows now, and I can't fit them all. I've added Restream in, and it's hard to fit everything together, but we should be good. Alright. So, what I wanted to try doing today was sort of doing a little bit of study work. You guys can follow along if you would like to. I wanted to try doing things that were, like, a little bit from tutorials I've found on Pinterest, a little bit of rendering and light technique, and then also wanting to play around with something interesting. So to start off, we are just going to be grabbing this tutorial here. I'm gonna show you guys real quick. So I did not make this tutorial. I can't. This is not a language that I can write in. It was made by a BB Shrimp, I believe is how you pronounce it. But I just sort of wanted to try going through this, these steps and seeing what we can pull from it, because I think I understand how they were working and how they did it. So just a little bit of practice work today. So of course, the first thing that we see here is they've made like kind of a rough crystal shape. I'm gonna actually make that a little bit nicer. And they start off with a solid, let's say it's more of a desaturated pink coral. So the one thing that's very interesting with crystals is that you really have to work dull in the beginning, because the amount of intensity in the light and dark is what's going to bring everything together, right? So I'm working with sort of this like dull pink color. And on a sec, let me just, I'm trying to not make it rounded, right? Because obviously crystal can't really be rounded unless it's been polished, unless it's been tumbled. But raw crystal's gonna have pretty raw edges. I mean, yeah, okay, there's different types of crystals that are rounder, like there's malachite, there's moonstone and everything, but again, most of those are usually tumbled, so I'm just going with like sort of our generic fantasy crystal. Also, Jig and Drago, hello, hello! Welcome in, how's everything going? I'm looking forward to this. I follow another artist who's done a lot of crystal tutorials, but I don't always really get it. Definitely send me, I feel like you sent me those in the past round, but send them to me again if you want me to try to touch up on it at all. I probably won't follow along today, but I'll absolutely do so when I'm not busy with other things. Watching this back as a VOD sounds good. I'm not gonna be like super tutorial based today, just because this is something that I am learning as well. Despite crystals being one of my main themes, it is something that I am always trying to improve on myself. So another thing that I'm noticing with this tutorial is that a BB Shrimp is grabbing a very saturated top here. That's going to be like their sort of darkest point, and it's going to contrast with the light and the dark. So we have our dull. I'm going to go for something very saturated, or more saturated, I should say. I'm looking for my regular airbrush here, and we're going to go from top to bottom. If I locked it, that would be a lot easier. And they also have a little bit on the bottom here, because again, you know, that's your reflected light. I might make this a tiny bit brighter, just because it's hard for me to see from color to color on different screens. I'm also working with a tutorial I cannot see the full resolution in, so we shall see. And then, there's a little bit of a darker shade at the top as well. And I don't want to make the whole thing dark. I don't want it to be like light and dark. I want a bit of that core shadow, that sort of really in between saturated part. I am now Yoshi. Vessa, thank you so much for resubscribing. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Alright. Ashel! Bring ha! Ow! Ow! Blah. Absolutely send them again just for interest's sake. Sounds good. Alright. And then I think what's happening here, and again, I can't really tell, but from what I can tell, what I'm trying to learn myself, again, you know, I'm very much trying to figure it out as I go. Learning with you guys at the same time. It looks like what we have here is an established second layer on top, so it's a bit hard to tell, but it looks like what's happening is they have... I'm not making this as dark. I'm making this darker than they have it, and the reason I'm doing that is to clearly see on my end. I'm actually going to use my selection tool so that I can make edges sharper, because that's something I think that I personally need to work on, is sharpening my edges on things. I think some of my work comes off as a little too soft, and on a crystal we don't really want that, so I'm just gonna be using a selection tool to get that sharp effect. And we're basically going where the shadows are hitting. So let's see here. And I am just sort of copying their shadow pattern, because in the beginning, I think that we can learn just from the style of it, and then sort of have our own take on it after we kind of learn the process, right? So I am just sort of I am just kind of copying where they put the shadow. And they basically just want to have like one side that is lighter, one side that is generally darker. Got this piece here, and this is kind of breaking up the sides of it, right? The different planes of the crystal. So, and then this should just be a little bit longer so that we can see these different sides. So from this, we're kind of getting this sense of like different sides, right? So we can start breaking it down in our mind. You know, there's probably going to be like a plane change here, a plane change here, and a plane change here. Now, they actually also have this front piece as its own plane change. Sort of like you're slicing off the top of it. Right? So now that I have this established, I can lock it and I can go back into an airbrush and I can start lightening it up. And making it match better. So I want to do what I had before. Lightening up some parts, keeping other parts dark. I'm going to go here. I'm going to lighten this whole thing up a little bit just so there's a little more contrast. And then this is where it's starting to get a little bit tricky, I think. Because now there is a third layer where we're sort of trying to go inside of the effect that we have. Let me just take a look at this real quick. Alright, I think this is more of a overlay. It's kind of hard because I'm trying to look at it while kind of breaking down what order it's in. And because I can't necessarily read the Japanese, it's a bit tricky for me to understand. But it looks like this is now becoming the surface. So I wonder if it's actually better to... I wonder if they duplicated... How did they do this? They might have duplicated it. And then put it on like some kind of overlay or add so that there's like a lighter piece. This part needs to stand out on its own. So I'm not entirely sure how they did that, actually. This lighter piece, like the shadows and the highlights, the way they did it, it seemed like it just reversed. Let me try something. What if I do a selection here around the whole crystal? And then I'll invert the selection. This is where our shadow is, right? Yep, okay. I'll invert that. not have it locked. And then I'm sort of breaking it up at this point, but bear with me. I'm wondering how they did it, because it reversed on me. The highlight became the shadow, and the shadow became the highlight. That's where my main confusion is. How did they do this? I mean, okay, let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Maybe you can see where my confusion is. So if we look at this, it seems pretty straightforward, right? And again, maybe it would help if I could read Japanese. We've got our base color here, and then we have our light to dark, and then we have this layer over here. I imagine that this layer is the same as this one, so this should be a new layer over it. And this is definitely where our shadows are, right? And then here is where I'm starting to get confused. This was our base layer, and then this was our shadow. And now it looks like this part up here is now what the highlight is going to be. But this highlight was previously our base layer. So how did they make that jump is what I'm wondering. Also, hello, Kaku. How are you doing today? Welcome in. I'm thinking... And if anyone can read this, please let me know. I'm wondering if there is a third layer on top of both of them. And then this part that looks like it's in the back is still... See, this is what I was confused about, because if this was our highlight, then there's something going underneath on the base. But if this is our base, then somehow the highlight is getting lost. So... I want to assume there's a layer effect going on here. But this shows me that they were able to select it and paint this stronger. And the way we have it, we couldn't select something. So how did they do this? Alright, let's just try seeing what we can do. Because I understand it up to halfway in. And I even understand after the step that we're stuck on. But that fourth step, I don't quite know how they did it. Let's see. See, I can't combine it. What if I did this? What if... Okay, this is... this piece we need. So let's select it. And let's reverse it. I'm gonna try something and it might not work. But this is all an experimentation, right? So why don't we reverse our selection. And then I'm going to go to our base again. I'm gonna copy the base. And see if we can then make that a second layer on top that's just kind of a copy, right? Except the copy is the invert of the shadow. This is definitely not how I should be doing it. Because I'm breaking it so much, but I'm breaking it trying to get to that feeling of the final step. I do not think that this is how they did this. I would not recommend doing it this way. But we're just playing around and experimenting. Because now... if I have those separate pieces, I can then make this area stronger, which is what we were trying to do earlier, right? So I could give this an add glow effect. I could make this stronger on the top. I can make this see-through. And if I put a layer in between, I should be able to get that strange inner section of the crystal that we were kind of confused about earlier, right? And of course, I'll continue clipping these so that it doesn't go out of bounds. If it does, then I'll just select it again. It's fine. But there's a lot of different layering going on here, right? And that's the main thing with the crystals, is that you're seeing them with a translucency and like a really intense transparency, right? So the light is refracting on these, and because of the geometry of it, there is a lot of different light refraction going on. So at the moment, I'm just sort of making random shapes in here, and I'm intending that to look like it's inside the crystal. Because that's the main effect that I think will sell this. Just adding a bit here. I don't know if being able to read the Japanese text would help or not. It probably would, but it's only one word, so I can't imagine it's like super critical. And then what we're going to do here is we are going to... We want that to be in between, so... Let's try locking it here. Okay. And then I feel like what I want to try doing is putting these all in their own layer and doing another layer on top. I want to add more intensity to this piece. Again, I do not think I'm doing this the way it is intended. Alright, let me say that right now. I do not think that this is the way that you're intended to paint this. But, at this point, we're just kind of having fun, and we're just trying out things, and we're just playing around, and we're experimenting, right? We're just seeing what we can do. We are just having fun at this point. I'm gonna add that to a normal layer. I want to try painting that individually. We don't need add glow yet. We'll add the add glow at a later time, but I just want to play around with the intensity of the color, right? And I'm adding some gradations in the center because I want this crystal to feel like it's glowing. And then this piece here, this very confusing front piece, I want to sort of try to make it feel like it's going through everything. And then, what they have here, there's nothing here, right? Okay. Then we start adding even more intensity. The main thing with crystals is intensity. Intensity of light and shadow. So I'm just gonna go with pure white. And I'm also following the, where the crystal is sort of being cut, right? So I'm following these planes. I'm sort of getting at the edges. Joey and Judgmental Cat, hello, hello, welcome in. How are you both doing today? Unfortunately, I cannot get, the Vstream chat to work. I've spoken to the person who made the Vstream chat bot. He can't figure out why it's not working for me in particular. I really don't know why I'm the only one who seems to have trouble with it. And it worked last time I spoke to him, but now it's not working again. But do you see how I'm just sort of following where these nooks and crannies and grooves are? And I'm adding some big shapes, I'm adding some little shapes. I'm again following the tutorial that I was showing earlier. And then I don't want these to be extremely intense, so I'm going to, again, go and soften them a little bit, just a little bit. Because they still should be the lightest thing in the piece. Just a little bit, just to... And then I might even go over and give it another add glow effect and go over the whole thing. And push some of that intensity, right? And then, this is the part that I personally like. And this is the part that I feel most happy with, because previously we've just been using the selection tool. So now I'm just going to go individually in and start... Probably should make sure that I still have a fairly sharp pen going on here, but I want to start adding the little bits of detail that kind of make it seem less like a vector piece, I think is a good way to say it. Datsu, hello! Redoing rough cut crystals? We are attempting. We are trying. I'm sort of working with some tutorials I picked up from Pinterest, and we're seeing what we can do with them. So I want to add little details here. And these details here where you are seeing me adding the white is where the edges are meeting. So this is like the light being reflected on the, like if you have a box, right? We'll explain it that way. If we have a box here, I'm hitting the highlight of this edge of the box where the planes are changing. So if this is the front and this is the side, then the light is hitting right there on the edge. It's a very sharp light, but it adds a realism to the piece when you include them. And that's why I don't personally like a pure vector style, right? Because pure vector style is fairly flat, but when we start adding those little bits here and there, we can start getting a little bit more painterly, a little bit more interesting. And we're starting to connect the planes. And that thin and thick contrast is what helps us. So there's like a very thick highlight, right? Like taking over an entire plane. And then we have these very thin contrasts on the side. Gotta head out, feeling yucky, got plans this evening. Gotta go nap for a while. Alright, no worries at all, Vessa. I hope you feel better, and I appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. Alright. At this point, we're just sort of adding a little bit. I do wish that I could see this tutorial in a higher resolution, because at the moment, it's very blurry for me. I'm kind of guessing a little bit as I'm going. Ever so slightly here. But again, I'm trying to do a lot with the intensity of the contrast, the light and the dark. Twitch is being weird to me? Really? Why is Twitch being weird? I can't see all the detail they're adding, so I don't entirely know what part I should be replicating here. But I'm just gonna try my best. I definitely want to add a little bit of sharp texture here, right? Because crystals sort of have this striation to them a lot of the time. And I want to keep in mind the direction that everything's going in. Data loading errors, really? That's interesting. I'm gonna see what happens if I just add one more white onto this plane, because I kind of want to tie in that middle part together and show that this is the most intense side. I'm not going to leave it white, I'm going to reduce the opacity, but I want to better tie in all of the other pieces. And it's very subtle, but it's still tying them in better than I had, because all the pieces have this white layer on them now. And it's this useful combination, right? I had to refresh the stream because the emotes were not loading properly. Huh. It fixed itself. Twitch being Twitch. Well, it's still cool that you can just jump on Vstream if you want, right? I haven't had too much time to experiment with the platform. I think this is my only my third stream on it at the moment, but do you like the platform so far as a viewer? All right, let me try adding a little bit more shadow here. And again, the whole thing with the visual interest. So, combining that light and dark. I like Vstream, I also like it as a user, that's good. I'm really hoping the best for the platform. I know it's like very much in beta, but you know, I have hopes for it. I hope it'll do well. Adding a little bit more texture on one of the faces here. That whole occlusion thing. And then, let's see if we can, over here, start adding like some of those shines in the center. Unfortunately, if you're adding emotes, I can't really see. Why can't I see your emotes? Wait, that's not right. Why can't I see your emotes? Hang on a sec. Can I see them on the main screen? I can. Why are they not? Is it just because I have it? Nope, that's weird. I can see your emotes on the website, but they don't show up in the browser window. Oh, that's irritating. Your emote's really cute, though. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm cursed when it comes to the technology side, so, you know, don't even use me as an example. I feel like I'm as obsessed with the add glow as Rostraws is with color dodge. Does anyone here know Rostraws? Because if you do, you'll get what I'm saying. Hello, Grendel. How are you doing? Twitch been acting funny for me too? Huh. I had my model artist make some for Vstream. They're really good. They're really nice. Well, also, you know, your model's also very nice, so that makes sense. Crystals are very interesting in art with their lighting. They really are. It's, I'm struggling a little bit, but it's still really fun for me. You know, it's one of my favorite subjects. I do want to add to the intensity of it. And then just some, like, light particles and refractions and all of that. I was at a con in Sweden this week and met a lot of VTubers there. Really? That's cool. Were they open about being VTubers? Were they, like, just walking around, hanging out? I feel like I'm still missing some of the intensity, but it's a little bit hard for me to follow. I got a little bit of imperfections here. I think that'll be nice. And again, just some of that, like, atmospheric effect, especially for something that's very, like, fantasy magical, can do a lot to improve things. Or just add some visual interest, really. I do still, I wish I understood the real technique that this artist was using, though, because, I went into stream thinking, like, oh, I'm just going to try learning from their techniques, and then it's like, I can't follow it. I was kind of running around a little bit, crazy earlier, so I didn't, like, fully get a chance to look into everything, but I've had these saved on Pinterest for a while. I'm like, oh, it'll be fun to, like, actually try using them, and then it's like, oh, wait, I don't really know how. That's okay. Again, we're just kind of having fun. We're playing around today. They had a panel, but weren't open about it. We all hanged out as a group, however. Oh, that's really cool. That's really sweet. It sounds really fun. Also, that seems like a good way to do it, probably. I like that. I'm always wondering about that. I would like to go to cons again someday. I used to go to cons a lot. I haven't been in a very, very long time. And now that I've taken up VTubing, I kind of have to figure out, like, how does that change going to a con now? I mean, for me, it probably doesn't change at all, but, you know, for someone else it would. So, it's just sort of a matter of, like, what would this mean in the general sense for people? I don't know, just something interesting to think about. Yeah, I haven't been in years. I really miss going to cons. I can't tell what they're doing here on the side. I feel like my style compared to this one is a lot more cartoony. Like, I was worried that my stuff was too loose and not sharp enough, and now it's, like, so sharp it gives me almost Steven Universe vibes. It's very hard to find a balance here. You haven't been to one in general before, Judgmental Cat? They're definitely really fun. I mean, I would try to find a local one at some point if you can. If it's something you're into. Some people aren't really into it. But for me, it's always been a lot of fun. Granted, I'm mainly someone who focuses a lot on the artist alleys and trying to learn from the artist alley people. So I would have to have more of a game plan than I normally do. Because I'm usually just there for Artist Alleys, but that was also, like, that was a long, long time ago, and now I'm sort of, like, I'm not jaded towards them, but it's more like I know how they are, I know how they work, and now I'm sort of more in that place than I used to be. I don't know if that makes sense. I still love supporting other artists in conventions, but I think there's more of a sense of like, oh, this is the kind of stuff I do. Interesting. Whereas before, everything was just always fascinating and new and different. Now it's more like, I want to be here so I can study how they did it. Or at least that used to be the case. I used to be very intent on wanting to do Artist Alleys. Not as much anymore, just because I spent so much time researching and then I learned how hard they are to be part of. Like, Sapphire wants to do Artist Alleys more now than ever, and I totally support her in it, but they are exhausting, so she's definitely doing something cool, but it's a pretty intense venture, I'd say. More so than people think. You don't really know what goes on behind the scenes with the Artist Alley people. I mean, like, I can't even figure out how I would travel with the setup to begin with. Con Atmosphere is a different feeling, doesn't make you feel self-conscious. Yeah, true. I've been to a grand total of 3. That's still cool. I've only seen very big VTubers taking special precaution. I would assume so, yeah. I saw a clip of Shoto being very concerned because he was trying to say hi to a friend, and the friend, like, shouted as loud as he could at his dealer table, like, "Oh my god, you're Shoto?" and, like, made it very obvious, and I don't think that made him happy. So I can imagine that. I went to Dokumi last month, the biggest in Europe, and I'm not gonna be able to pronounce that. Nauticon last week? Dokumi was like a gigantic anime mall. Nauticon was smaller and more cozy, but had more activities for the goers. Was more fun overall. Interesting. Like, more panels, I'm guessing. I kind of feel like I've almost exhausted what I can do with this at the moment, because I can't really see what else is being done to it in detail. Maybe I'll try to tie this down again. That's not what I wanted. It's very hard for me to see the planes now. Something like that there. I'm gonna lurk as I finish some stuff. No worries, Grendel. Enjoy the lurk. More panels, games, and activities. Sweden was also nice to visit. Oh, I'm sure. Closest thing I would go to is something like PAX, since I like video games. I haven't been to PAX, but PAX seems fun. I don't like, what is the state of video game conventions these days? Because I know, like, I don't know what's going on with E3, you know? I think PAX is outshining E3 at the moment, but I don't really remember. Non-existent. E3's dead. Oh, that's sad. I don't know. I'm one of those, like I've said in the past, or like I'm kind of saying now, I'm a very merch-oriented person. I like going to conventions for the swag. So, like, a big thing for E3 to me is, like, all the exclusive stuff that the game developers had out for people who went there, right? Benra Castle, hello, hello! Welcome in. Thank you very much for following on Twitch. How are you doing today? E3's been dead for years and is now finally rolled over for good. That's really sad. That's sad, because I feel like, you know, we're missing a sense of place these days, you know? I was, looking at a video about it, and it's like, I feel like we're sort of missing that fun of going to different places that, you know, especially for something like E3, that felt different than just, like, buying the game you wanted on like, Steam or Amazon or something. Like, there was a sense of community there. The only one I would go, the other one I'd be interested in is GDC. GDC actually seems really cool from an artist perspective, too, because they have, some stuff on, like, the concept art and the sculpting work for game dev and everything. That actually seems fun. Tired mostly? How about yourself? I can understand that I'm tired. Are you a purple dragon, by the way? That is really cool. It's sad, but E3 hasn't been E3 since they cut the public out. Oh! I'm very behind on the times. When was this? I obviously, like, haven't been paying super close attention, so I might be really behind the 8 ball now. I feel like this is probably as most as I can do with the crystal that I have. I could try doing what they're doing with the shading, but I'm honestly having an even harder time understanding that one. But let's try it. We've got this dark area here, it seems like. We'll make this edge a little straighter. We'll fade this out. And unless you are right at the edge of an object, the shadow is actually very soft. It gets sharper as you get closer. Let me get my wrist in a proper orientation for that. Here we go. And, okay, this should be a little bit more extended past the edge here because it's not directly to the edge, right? There we go. And then I can't entirely tell what they're doing here, but let's try adding a little bit of intensity. White water dragon with purple underbelly and fins. Ooh, water dragon, I love that. A long time ago, they let influencers attend, but it's been years since it was just a general public event. E3 used to be something I aspired to go to, but not for a long time now. Oh man, okay, I'm really, really behind then, I'm sorry. My main transformation, but what I am is water that can turn into anything. Oh, you're a water shapeshifter, that's really cool. Also, yeah, if you want to join the Discord, definitely feel free. We are a safe for work, artist-focused Discord, but you do not have to be an artist to join. We have many people in the Discord who are not artists themselves, just like getting notifications that work better than Twitch. I actually have some stuff that I'm planning to evolve with the Discord in just a few days, frankly. I'm very excited. Next stream is going to be our big stream of the year, so if you're just turning in as a new viewer, then definitely come in next stream. Hang on one second here. Alright, we do not need any of that. Hopefully that worked. I can't see it on my end. But yeah, if you want to come to stream this coming Tuesday, same time, we start at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard. It is my stream anniversary, slash what I'm calling a Starfall Day, which some of you, know as more of a, celebration of years for other people, but, it's gonna be a fun stream, and I have some stuff that I want to do to the Discord that will be that should hopefully be an exciting new venture. And also, if you don't want to call yourself an artist, but you just like doing art, that is perfectly acceptable. We have people of all levels who like to hang out with us, so definitely just, you know, we're chilling, we're having fun, we're learning, and I also like to teach some art techniques on stream most of the time, so, like, today I'm kind of just learning on my own a little bit, right? Like, I'm trying to figure some things out myself. But there's other times where I like to do a lot of technique and discussion type stuff and help people out, give people advice on branding and stuff like that. We just have a lot of fun. At least I hope so. I like helping people on their creative journey, whether they want to do art seriously, or they just want to be able to focus on their brand better, or they just want to be part of a chill community. And of course, you know, as a VTuber, I also just, I do my own stuff as well, and I'm also working on establishing my presence on the worldwide internets. There we go. That looks better. But yeah, we're kind of a little bit of a mix of cozy and chaotic here. I like saying cozy and chaotic, but I feel like that's now become, like the staple descriptor that VTubers use. So I feel like we gotta come up with something else at some point. I feel like every VTuber describes themselves as cozy and chaotic. Am I wrong, or does that seem like really common nowadays? Maybe it's just me. I feel like that's just what I've noticed, anyway. I'd like to do more art, but sadly my arms shake way too much to draw well. Yeah, I actually have some friends that kind of deal with the same, to be honest. Did you do the, did you draw your icon? I have some friends who go through some similar stuff. Like I said, we really do have, like, all art levels in that Discord. You know, there's some people like Roan, for example, who have been doing, like, intense college level classes, and then there's some who are just learning, and then there's others who are, like, just doing it to explore their storytelling. We've got all kinds of different stuff. And post some what I have drawn if you want? Yeah, sure. If you want to, like, post any sketches, we have, like, a sketches and work in progress channel. And final art you can post in the art gallery channel if you'd like. If you're in the Discord. Sorry, I'm not checking at the moment. Although I will say that I think what we are going to do very soon, I don't have the I'm trying to figure out how to transition nicely. I think we will transition to gallery forms, because I just think that that's a better way that we can each individually have our work seen without different things getting, like, obscured by others, right? So I think that's something that we might try doing. And I know that it is not the biggest Discord at the moment. I know that we're still growing. But, you know, I'm just trying to look forward to, preparing for the future and stuff, making sure that we've got stuff established as we can. Gallery form is super pretty formatting. It is, right? Do you think that we should do it, like, for all the art channels? Because, like, I think it makes sense for the gallery because it's really, it's, easier to, see each individual work without it being wiped away. And then I think it also makes sense for the work in progress channel, because then if you wanted feedback or you wanted to, like, talk to someone about it, then you can kind of go off on your own thread and it doesn't matter how much space you take up because it's all in your own little area. I think this weekend I'm going to be doing a lot of Discord rearranging. And I'm basically giving you guys all the heads up. I think what we will do, just because unfortunately Discord doesn't have a way of Discord doesn't have a way of changing a current channel. I sadly can't turn anything into a forum channel. I really wish I could. So what we'll probably do is we'll switch over to the forum channels and I will have the other art channels in a archive. And if you want to repost anything that you've previously posted in the other art channels, I am completely fine with you reposting to get it into the gallery channel. I see nothing wrong with that. So you want to post any of your older stuff, then absolutely feel free to. Because we are kind of... Discord should have made a way to establish it, but I understand that probably due to formatting, it's likely not a possible thing. It just would have been nice. But yeah, if you want to repost any of the stuff that you've done, feel free to. We'll reduce that. We just have a tiny bit more in the way of extra textures and such. There we go. I think this looks pretty good. I was following a tutorial to get here, but, and I don't think I followed it correctly. But I think we've established a good result here. It's definitely sharper than most of the other stuff I do, so I want to try learning how to keep things sharp looking, right? Let's see if I can find where that last layer is. Oh, I probably can't. Alright, let me just try to sharpen up this edge right here. Right there should be fine. Alrighty. I think we are probably going to call it here. I know it's a really short stream today. I mentioned earlier that it was going to be a shorter stream. I just sort of wanted to reconnect with you guys and say hi, make sure that we were still on the same page with stuff. And again, if you can, please come to the stream on Tuesday. It's going to be 2 o'clock Eastern Standard. I have some new things for the Discord. I have some new things for you all. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. I want to show you what I've been working on behind the scenes. But yeah, so yeah, a little bit shorter today. I know, I'm sorry, Leslie. Hello. I apologize. Definitely shorter than normal. But try to come to the Tuesday stream if you can. We might make it a little bit longer than usual. And today I just sort of wanted to catch up and establish some practice work with you all. I'm sorry, Leslie. I hope I will see you around in a future stream, but I hope you have a good rest of your day as well. I know, it's already been an hour. It's crazy, right? But thank you all for joining me today. I really appreciate hanging out with you, regardless of how long. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, evening, or night, wherever you may be in the world. I hope that I will see you on Tuesday, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard. And with that, I wish you all the best. Thank you so much, Stargazers.